Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Build your army decks, dominate opponents in player versus player action, collect and upgrade cards to fit your strategy, improve their power and unlock unique traits. Choose from all 40k factions, take part in campaigns based on iconic 40k battles, rise to the top of the leaderboard and win glory. Free to download and play. Link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this complete army video. It's a bit of a treat here for everybody. Usually it's one of my armies here, but Mike Walker has 2,000 points of Black Legion complete and a chance to run through his complete army in this video. Alright, so a big congratulations to Mike, first of all, for painting up 2,000 points of Black Legion. It's a classic Space Marine, or classic Chaos Space Marine army, so very excited to see them on the channel and fully represented. As you'll see, Mike does have a Baden in his list. With these videos, it's a chance to break armies down, to see all the different units, combinations, loadouts, war gear, strategy and tactics. So if you're into collecting Chaos Space Marines or thinking about collecting them, and you're leaning towards Black Legion, then the idea of this video is to help you out. Or perhaps you fight against Black Legion and you can pick up some of the tactics, units and loadouts and so on as you wage war against them. So before we get stuck into the list here, for discount 40k for your Chaos Space Marines, other factions, Age of Sigmar, other gaming systems, then do check out the link below. For the Outposts, it's usually 20% off Games Workshop stuff, plus other gaming systems available from them. There's Bring and Buy available as well, so you can trade in your old stuff and get a hold of second-hand models as well. And if you're in the UK and most of the European Union, then you can tap into free postage as well to really help keep the cost of the hobby down. When you use the link in the video description, it does help support the channel. So usual format for these videos, we'll showcase some of the models, you get a chance to see the work that's been done, and then we'll break the army down. We'll talk about the whole philosophy and tactics for the army, and then we'll break the different units down and show you how they work together and so on. So a real chance to see a full army breakdown in this video. So I guess we'll start with the man himself. Mike was encouraged strongly to get a Baden. Bit of a painting challenge for sure, but the resculpt, the model's incredible. The arch enemy of Rabute Guilliman. You never know, maybe I'll see them clash on the channel one day. But who hunts who? I don't know in the lore. A Baden hunts Rabute, or is it the other way around? I suppose they just hunt each other, but there he is painted up. Classic Black Legion style. Mike's put a big emphasis on getting that golden armour nicely shaded and highlighted. So that's him. Taunting James with a slain ultramarine. And then we'll not show you all the models here, but some of the others. Obliterators here, the new sculpt from Games Workshop. Amazing models. Really nice. And Mike's gone for this sort of rotten-ish kind of flesh going on here with these. I'll show you a couple of the other models. So this is the squad leader for the Havocs. Just real classic Black Legion colour scheme. Very striking. Mike has bikers in his list, and then put onto the updated sort of oval bases. Then Games Workshop resculpted the regular Chaos Space Marines, which Chaos players have been waiting for years and years for them to do that, but they've done an absolutely fantastic job. The resculpts are amazing. So Mike boasts a good number of those in his list. Terminators as well. Again, resculpt from Games Workshop, brilliant job. Like so. There's Cultists. What set is this? What is this, a regular Chaos Cultist set, or is it from something else?
That's just the regular, the new sculpt.
Yeah. And then there's these. What is this?
This is the Dark Commune.
Okay. Again, amazing sculpt here. So it's been about the best time, I think about the best time to collect Chaos because of all the resculpts the Games Workshop have done. It's just completely revamped and updated the options for Chaos Space Marines. And we've got Master of Execution here. Particularly nice job on him with all the bone and the golden armour. So nice work, well done to Mike here for getting these painted up, and a great job, nice tidy job he's done with these. So for overall tactics for the army, Mike's got a little sheet here, look. So see if I can interpret this. So a Baden with a block of Terminators and supporting characters to be the main thrust through the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So bullet magnet, killing stuff in close combat, firepower from the Terminators, and then supporting stuff around that. So for 9th edition, you need to be able to move around, grab objectives, perform actions and so on. Yeah. So for that is a variety of different types of units to support this main block in the middle. I think that's the general gist of what Mike's doing. So you've got a Rhino here with the contents inside to move around to support this. And then Havoc's Obliterators lay down firepower support as needed. And there's other units like Cultists to support as well. But I think what you're going to see is the main core, and it's sort of a classic combination of Terminators and a Baden and the rest of the units to support that main kind of structure here. And it's Mike's going with the fluff here. If you're going to take a Baden, you've got to have that Terminator bodyguard, and Mike's gone for a big blob of those, as we shall see. But I think that's the general overall strategy here, just a strong presence in the centre of the board. And for 9th edition games, if you can anchor and control the middle of the table, then your army is going to be in a good position. So it seems to be the general strategy and philosophy here for this list, but we'll break this down. We'll start with HQ choices first of all. So obviously Mike's gone for Black Legion. There's a bonus there for combat attrition, but the main thing here is each time on this with this trait makes attack, it's +1 to the attack's roll. If it's a ranged attack and it's the closest eligible enemy unit to the attacking model. So if you're shooting at something that's the closest model, you get +1 to hit roll. So usually it's going to be 3s turning into 2s. It's exceptionally reliable. And then that attack is a melee attack, and you made a charge move this turn. So on the charge, you're going to get +1 to hit rolls. And again, usually that's going to mean you're hitting on 2s instead of 3s. So as a rule across the board for an entire legion, it's particularly good. It really is very useful indeed. And then one of the other things that you can do is you can place a unit so you deliberately can't see another unit in order to get the +1 against something else. So there's those kind of tricks going on. But as a general rule across the board, it's particularly strong for Black Legion. So very good indeed. All right, so we'll start off with the man himself. So Baden the Despoiler being taken, sort of the main anchor man here, the focal point for this list. Let's bring him in. We've seen the model already, so we'll just place him there. So stat lines across here. Baden the Despoiler, movement 6, so slow-ish or regular move, but there's a little bit that Mike can do to counter that. We'll call it out now, Mike. There's a stratagem you can play.
Yes, Confidence of Traders, I think it is. It's the one where you can pick another
Legion trait.
Legion trait, yeah. Abaddon does have the keywords that it states in the card. So you can go to Red Coursers and you can advance and declare a charge.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of movement there, so you can advance and charge if you switch him over to Red Corsairs. So there's that possibility of just stretching a little bit more movement out of him if you need to make the charge. So the idea is that he's going to push up with the Terminators, or he has the ability to warp strike here, and that's why he pairs up really nicely with Terminators, because they can obviously deep strike in as well, so you can turn up with them and support them. So Web Scale Ballistics got 2+, Strength 6, Toughness 6, got 9 wounds, there's no damage profile on him, which is brilliant, 8 attack space, which is insanely good, Leadership 11, and then a 2-up armor save. On top of that 2-up armor save, and to make him real reliable for durability, is a 4+ invulnerable save, and you can't take away more than 3 wounds in any phase against him as well. So you can't gun him down, for example, 1 round of firepower. It's got to be multiple phases in order to bring Abaddon down. So he is very, very tough indeed. He's how many points now?
350.
Yeah, so he's expensive enough, but it's a model that you're expecting to survive and to do well enough on the board and to support the rest of the force for sure. And you couldn't do Black Legion without Abaddon, no. So it's brilliant to see him added into the list. So equipment here, Talon of Horus for shooting, range 24, assault 4, strength 5, -1, 2 damage. Not too bad for shooting. His main forte though is close combat. So you've got the Drakian here, which is the sword. +3 strength, that's strength 9, which is brilliant. AP -4, straight 3 damage. Each time attack is made with this weapon, unmodified wound roll over 6. It's D3 mortal wounds, in addition to any normal damage as well. So the sword's fantastic against any type of target. And then the Talon of Horus as well, that's the claw. Strength user, which is strength 6. AP -4, 1 damage, but you get 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So that's basically 16 attacks if he finds himself up against hordes. So there is a fair few bits to go through for Baden. He's got a sort of a stack of stuff going on here, plus the Warlord traits that Mike runs for him as well. So we talked about Warp Strike. Then he's got Mark of Chaos Ascendant. Each time this model makes a melee attack, if it made a charge move, was chargeable, formed Heroic Intervention, you get +1 strength. So that bumps him up to strength 10. And then once per turn, the first time a saving throw is failed with this model, it's changed to damage 0. So another buff there to make him nice and durable. Each time an attack is made against this model, if the strength characteristic of that attack is either equals or at least double the toughness characteristic of this model, subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll. So another buff to try and make him tougher on the board. And if this model starts the fight phase within engagement range of any enemy units, it always fights first. So it's just one thing after the next of him. Then Dark Destiny we've covered. The Warmaster, if your army's battle forged, this model must be your Warlord. So then you then tap into the Warlord traits that are available. If more than one model from your army has a rule to this effect, and just clarifies that. Then the Despoiler, it's an aura ability. Whilst a friendly Chaos core unit, which is plenty of units that have the core keyword within 6 inches, they get +1 to charge rolls made for that unit. Useful, especially perhaps if you're trying to deep strike. And then each time model on that unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. Granted to that as well. That's an aura ability, so he's not given that to a unit. That's just a bubble to bless multiple units if they're nearby. Then Lord of the Traitor Legions, in your command phase, select one friendly Heretic Astartes core or character model. So I take it you can bless himself with this one. Within 6 inches to the start of your next command phase, each time model that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. And if it's Black Legion, which he's planted right in the middle of a Black Legion army, you can also reroll the wound roll. So the buffs that he gets for himself are fantastic, and there's some very, very tasty ones here for other units as well. So again, we've talked about him sitting in amongst the unit of Terminators. The stuff that he can grant to them is fantastic. So there's a real good synergy going on with Abaddon plus Terminators. So there's multiple Warlord traits available for Abaddon.
Merciless Overseer.
Yeah, so in your command phase, you can select one friendly Black Legion unit within 6 inches of the sword. It's got another buff going on here until the start of the next command phase. Each time model that unit makes an attack, if your army is engaged in either wanton destruction or wanton slaughter, that's considered to be engaged in wanton massacre for that attack instead. So the 6 is popping extra hits. Very, very useful indeed. And then the other one, there's another one on this page.
Of Hatred.
That's across here. You can reroll charge rolls for this Warlord. That's going to help him with the issue of trying to make progress across the board and getting to contact. And each time this Warlord fights, if it's within engagement range of enemy units, until that fight is resolved, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of this Warlord. So he gets an extra attack as well. So 8 attacks becomes 9. If it's against Imperium, which half the time he's going to be fighting them, it's D3 extra attacks instead. So fine. And then across here's one other one.
Yeah, Eternal Vendetta.
Alright, start the first battle round before the first turn begins. Select one enemy unit. To the end of the battle, whilst a friendly Legion core or Legion character unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord, each time model that Legion unit makes an attack against the enemy unit, you can reroll the attack's wound roll. Brilliant. So that's good for like shooting and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm wondering where Mike got it from. It's from here. Abaddon the Despoiler, Eternal Vendetta, Paragon of Hatred, and Merciless Overseers. He takes 3 Warlord traits for him as well. He is the buff king. Feel sorry for you having to remember all this stuff.
Yes.
In games. I think practice will make perfect with him, but there's a lot of stuff to him. He's got built-in buffs and bonuses going on, and then multiple Warlord traits stacked on top of that as well. But if you start adding all that together, if he's planted nicely in the heart of an army, you really have got a strong, very, very, very strong HQ choice for sure. So that's Abaddon. Really for this Black Legion force, HQ choices, Mike's placed a lot of emphasis on these, making them as potent as possible. So I'm searching for the next one. We'll go to Master of Possession. This is another one of the key units for this force. And as the units come in, you sort of start to see the way it builds up and the way they buff and bonus and help each other out. But Master of Possession, very, very important HQ. So that's him just there. We'll plant him next to Abaddon. So he's basically a psyker
Yeah.
Yeah. So stat line, pretty standard. Got 5 wounds, 5 attacks for him. The main reason Mike's taken him is for the powers that he can kick out. You've got staff there, just like a normal staff, +3 strength, -1 d3 damage. He can take 2 psychic powers and deny 1. There is, yeah, I'll call this sacrificial dagger out because Mike used that in the game we just played. Each time this model attempts to manifest a psychic power from the malefic discipline, if it's in 3 inches of a friendly Legion infantry unit, excluding Demon King and Cultist unit, you can select one of those units and make a sacrifice. If you do so, select the selected unit takes d3 mortal wounds, and you get +2 to your psychic test. So that can come in use if we've got a particular power that you really want to go off. You can do the sacrificial dagger with him. In the game, from Mike's tactics and the diagram that we've seen, usually Master Possession will be hanging around the centre of Mike's force and near Abaddon to bless units such as the Terminators, but other units as well. So buffs to make him work harder in the game.
Mutated Invigoration.
And that's a warlord trait or a...
That's a it's a psychic power.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's more or less to give somebody +1 strength or +1 toughness.
Such as Terminators.
Terminators, yeah.
Right, okay.
And then the likes of Pact of Flesh, which I think is very, very lowly. Warp charge of 5, where I can bring a model back and then heal d3 wounds on that same unit.
Yeah.
If it has the core.
It's like an apothecary, but with a range of 18, potentially 24.
Yeah,
with the way Mike buffs him as well. So it's exceptionally useful to be able to have that large range, being able to restore models and restore wounds.
And because I give him the mark of Zinch, I get access then to the Skeins of Fate, where I can give another Zinch unit a 4+ invuln, which is usually my Terminators I make.
Right, okay. Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
And then to help him along,
yep.
I give him the Liber Heroictus. I can't pronounce it. That's what gives me the extra 6 inches to my casting and allows me to cast an extra psychic power. So instead of casting 2, you can cast 3.
Yes. And then on top of that, there's a stratagem where you can cast another power as well.
Yep. Can't remember off the top of my head. But
it's okay, but basically 3 powers, if not 4 powers per turn. So you're paying the points for a model, but what you're doing is you're amplifying their ability and how much help they can be during the game. So, for example, Smite now from him can be range 24.
24, yeah.
Yeah, the healing ability range 24. Yeah, we've just fresh from playing a game, and the stretch that he has across the board. If he's in the middle of the table or you're at the middle of your deployment zone, and you can just reach out to different units and assist them by resurrecting models, restoring wounds, and so on. So Master Possession, particularly useful. That Mike's stacked up a number of abilities just to get him kicking off multiple psychic powers throughout the game. So that's the Psyker. The major emphasis we're seeing at the moment is buffs and bonuses going on. You'll see what units are going to benefit from that as we draw them in. So sticking with HQs, Mike's taking the Dark Commune here. I'm not sure how popular that is, but it's an interesting unit for sure. They're just over here. We'll bring them in. And they look fantastic, painted up for Black Legion. Very, very cool. So we'll pull those across. I don't think we showed you all the models yet. But I mean, look at that. The banner looks particularly good, painted up with the gold. So 5 models in total for this one. Intricate detail. The candles. Yeah, nicely themed unit for sure. So we'll just pull those into there. So I'm not going to run through all the rules here. Mike will just give us like a brief rundown on why they've been taken and what they can do on the battlefield. Psychers, aren't they, I think? Yeah,
there's a Sager and like a... and I basically casting a prayer. So if one guy can cast a prayer and one guy who can do a Sager or a psychic ability. Now, my idea behind that was I can get them down in the middle of the table for secondary scoring, and either interrogate or do a warp ritual in the middle of the board. And then the prayer is
so for points harvesting.
Points harvesting,
right,
yes, is the main aim behind them. And then again for the prayers, it's disruption. If I'm within range of a certain objective and somebody's trying to do
an action on it.
An action on it.
Raise a banner or something.
Raise a banner, yeah. Providing it goes off in your turn, your next command phase. If that perk goes off, it stops you from doing it.
Right, okay. So it's disruption factor.
So it's disruption factor and points harvesting. For 100 points, you know.
Yeah, okay. So that's... And they can kick out, if you stack them up well, mortal wounds as well.
Yeah. The no smite and then a couple of other psychic abilities, you know, so again it'll just be situational. Yeah, you've got a character that you'd rather clear out of the way in the psychic phase. You kick out some mortal wounds and get them out of the way. Perhaps a Baden, for example, has got one annoying model left that he's against, so you could smite them, clear them off, and then leave him free to charge a fresh target. So it's a kind of a tactical choice for them, plus the ability for harvesting victory points coming through for secondaries as well. So Mike sort of builds his list on... So you've pretty much chosen your secondaries already for the way this army operates? More or less, yeah.
Okay. So Psychic Interrogation and Warp Ritual is the secondaries they've been built around. So taking a unit there, anticipating trying to score points to help the army on to victory. Okay, so that's HQ choices taken. We'll go on to troops next. So regular legionaries, and again for Black Legion, for the fluff and the look of the army, regular legionaries a great option to go for, and they look brilliant painted up in the classic Black Legion style. So Mike's taken 2 squads. This squad here, I'll just pull them in closer, like so. That's a squad of 7.
7, yeah.
And then I'll bring in a squad of 8 as well. Now each squad is loaded out differently, and each squad has a different purpose. So the squad of 7 is a shooty option.
Yes. They also have the Mark of Nurgle.
Yeah, it makes them toughness 5.
It just means if you shoot them with a weapon that's the same or double the value, you subtract
nice
1
wind roll.
to the wind roll. Okay. And then there's a strategy you can use that allows them to not be targeted if they're not the closest enemy unit. If they have the Nurgle keyword.
So, objective holding.
Yeah.
Objective duty with those, which again is essential.
And again, you can pay CP for Demon Shells, I think it's called, where I can then extend my range by 6 inches and give it an AP of -1.
Okay.
So, and then they also have the icon where I think if 6 is to hit and shooting automatically wound. So, because it's free, you know, because the whole new orcs, your war gear is free. Yeah. All I'm paying for is the mark, and there's also a Balefire tomb in there to allow me to do a psychic ability as well.
Oh, right, okay, cool. And then this squad of 8 is built for combat. It's more of an aggressive type unit.
Yeah. Again, that is now the Mark of Khorne. So the plan is to get them in a Rhino on up the field. And
right, so I'm going to pull this in.
Yep.
Right, regular Rhino being taken. Has to pair up with those.
And then just to get into combat and start cutting away, because again they have the Mark of Khorne. So if there's a psychic ability going off, there's a strategy again that you can use. If I have the Mark of Khorne on a 4-up, I can deny it, and then there's a strategy again that I can fight again. There's a few strats that they can do where it's, you know,
just to amplify what they already have.
Them, because they have the Mark of Khorne. Yeah.
Okay. So geared up for close combat, I'd say it's sort of a medium type threat unit here, not the main vanguard here, but definitely a decent enough supporting unit. Could plunge them into a screening unit, a character, and expect them to do well enough with a load of attacks. Base of 3. Chaos Space Marines.
Yep.
Yeah, base of 3. So if it's like for regular Space Marines, you get like 2 attacks, and then on the charge you get your extra attack. But for Chaos Space Marines, it's like built in, it's much stronger. Because you're always fighting with those extra attacks coming through. And then they're taking the Chainsaw, which is AP -1. Now that Armour of Contempt's been stripped away for up against Space Marines, that's going to bite in quite nicely. Gives them an extra attack as well. And so now they're on 4 attacks. So that squad of 8, 32 odd attacks. 8, 9, 16, 32. Yeah, so you know a squad of 8 can kick out a whole lot of attacks. And then if you're charging the closest unit, +1 to the hit rolls, hitting on 2s, And if you're near a Baden, he's starting to kick out buffs and bonuses onto them. And all of a sudden, you're really starting to chew through the hits and wounds quite nicely with them. Then for speed up the table, just put them inside the Rhino. The opponent's got to try and crack open the transport to get through to them. So we've got the front rank of stuff here. We'll call out some points. So 350 already covered for him. As the
Master of Possession hasn't changed. He's still 120 if you include the icon.
Yes.
Or the mark.
Yes.
It's 15 points, so yeah.
Dark Commune's 100.
100.
The Shooty Squad.
161. If you maybe second, I'll find it here.
Yeah, and then this squad across here.
Legionnaires, the 30 is 159.
Okay, and then these ones? 161 you've said, then
yeah.
159 for those.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that kind of medium kind of cost. 150 points is kind of your medium kind of cost here. And then the Rhino, I would imagine, is about
80 points.
Is 80 points.
And I don't think you pay for the Havoc Launcher or the something else. But
straight 80 now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next squad here, and the great thing about this army is the variety of units you're going to see. It's nice for painting, when you're painting a project up, you're a nice variety of stuff. You're not having to paint 30, 40 of the same model. Mike's gone for a wide variety of stuff. It's Chaos Cultists next, which is this squad here. And it's a squad of 16.
16, yeah.
Okay. And what's their job?
8 or more for holding the back line and screening at the back.
Right, okay. Backdoor duty with those. So there's 16 of them, but they're still cheap enough. It's 80 points. They're 5 points a time. No further upgrades being taken for them. Again, sort of situational requirement from those. If Mike needs them at the back door, then they can do that. If he needs them to screen, then they can do that. So it's a unit that can be, well, for sort of low-level duty on the battlefield and an expendable type unit. If they do take casualties, there's a stratagem for them.
Yes, Traded Traders is D3 plus 3 for 1 CP.
Okay. But you can expect to see those just as sort of more menial tasks on the battlefield. They're certainly not going to lead the charge here for this list. So I think that's all the troops.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to elites, and it's the Terminators. So this is one of the iconic units here for this list. Mike's gone for a full squad of 10. It's the brand new resculpts from Games Workshop, so they look fantastic. And then with a Baden in amongst them, and just look epic on the table. It's a real sort of classic Black Legion Chaos Space Marine combination here. So Mike's gone for 10. With a larger squad, with all the, we'll talk about, there's a fair bit of strategy being dedicated to those, but with a larger squad, any buffs and bonuses are being made use of by more models. If you've got a larger squad, then if you're rerolling hits, rerolling wounds, then you're going to get more and more value out of that if you go for a larger squad, as opposed to, say, 2 squads of 5. Then you can't give all the buffs and bonuses to both squads. So that's why Mike's gone for the larger unit. There's some other reasons as well. So Chaos Space Marines, they are slower, so movement 5. But if they're going to push up through the centre of the board, it's more of that relentless march from those that they're just going to push and break their way through with firepower and close combat with a Baden in support. Weapons Compass has got of 3+. As we've seen for Black Legion, that can be improved. Strength 6, or Strength 4, Toughness 4. 3 wounds each for Terminators, brilliant durability. Base of 3 attacks for them. 2 up armour save. 5+ invulnerable save for Terminator armour. And the Accursed Weapon, I really rate it. I think it's brilliant. You get the extra strength. 8-3, which is brilliant now, especially now that Armour and Contempt's gone. Only 1 damage, but it's just the sheer number of attacks come through. 3 base, you do get an extra attack for that weapon. So now you've got Terminators with 4 attacks base, so you're immediately on 40 attacks in close combat with that squad. For shooting, you've got the Combi Bolter. Range 24, rapid fire 2. Because it's on Terminator models, at your longer range, you're going to be getting the double shots coming through. So again, that's going to be 40 shots. So now you're looking at like 40 shots for shooting, 40 attacks in close combat, plus all the bonus, the buffs and bonuses that can be stacked on top from people like a Baden. The other great thing about taking the larger squad of Terminators is the Master of Possession can start restoring wounds and restoring models onto those, and the key is not to let them get wiped out, so that can continue to happen from one turn to the next. So larger squad of 10 much more unlikely to happen. I'm talking about this a lot because I've just played against these. I've sort of seen a lot of the strategy in action in the latest game that we've played. Anything else about those Terminators you want to add in? There's some combi melters.
On a squad of 10, I have 4 combi melters and 1 Reaper chain cannon.
Okay, some extra
just for the extra AP and things like that. And again, if you're putting the Abbey onto them for the reroll all field hits, all field wounds, it can be pretty lethal. And if you use a stratagem, Demon Shell again, you're getting your extra 6 inches plus a -1 then for Boulder. With Armor Contempt gone,
it's going to start.
It's the weight of dice then. It will play in your favour.
Yeah. So there may be games where the Terminators may not contact too much, but they are equipped for shooting, so they can kick out that firepower. And that buff, reroll hits and wounds, is for shooting or combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fine. Okay, really good. And then if they come up against heavier targets, you've got the melters. I just wondered how Mike could take 4, but it says here for every 5, you can take 2. Yeah, it says it here. Up to 2 models can each have their combi bolt replaced by a combi melter, and that's for every 5. So Mike's got access to 4. So it's another strong reason for taking the 10 Terminators, is you can take 4 melters in that squad. Hang on a second. 4 melters that you potentially can reroll the hit rolls and wound rolls.
Yeah.
Very good indeed.
Mm.
Yeah. If you get close enough for the melter weapons, no, it's brilliant. So, at longer range, you're laying down the Daka. At medium range, it's the Daka and the melters. And then happy enough in close combat. So whatever they're marching towards, they'll shoot at and fight in close combat quite happily. And then whatever comes back at them, either with firepower or in close combat, there is that durability of them and the potential to restore models and restore wounds as well. And they've got bodyguard duty. They're going to shield and protect characters. Abaddon's 9 wounds, and therefore can't be shot at until those Terminators are cleared out of the way or reduced down to 2 models or less. So right in the heart of the army, you can expect to see the Terminators operating away, or depending on the circumstances, they may deep strike in with Abaddon. So points.
I don't have a grand total, but they are 36. They will deduct 3 points, so they're 36 points. Yeah. Per
so
model.
360.
And then you've got 5 points for the combi melters each, so it's another 10. 5 points for the Reaper chain cannon, and then 15 points to give them the Mark Zinch.
Right, explain that. So Mark Zinch, yeah.
Mark Zinch. Now the reason I'm giving them the Mark Zinch is I believe the first one that they take is ignored, but it's then to go along with the Master of Possession for the Skein of Fate, because he's Mark Zinch, so he gains access to that psychic ability.
Yep.
It then gives the Terminators a 4+ info.
Aha, right, okay. So again, the whole idea of buffing and protecting them as much as possible. You got to anticipate in a game you are going to be shot at, you are going to be attacked. So therefore, concede the fact that that's going to happen, but then what can you do to negate as much of that damage coming through as possible? So that's the idea of the Terminators, but either around about 400, just under 400 points for the cost of those. So we've got a strong central combo going on. Terminators, Abaddon, Master of Possession, the Dark Commune. We've got another unit that can move up quick enough inside the Rhino and lay down a load of close combat attacks mostly. Some Daka and objective holding ability with these, and then a large unit of cultists for backdoor duty as well. So we'll roll on to, no we won't, we'll go here. Master of Execution, so another character, but he is an elite's choice. And this is a combo to try and get as much out of this guy as possible. I imagine he's going to be potentially sheltering with the Terminators, or he could go in the Rhino, couldn't he?
He's my plan to go for the Rhino. Yeah.
He does go in the Rhino. Right, so we've now got an HQ choice to lend some support to these regular Chaos Legionaries. So I'll call out the stats, then Mike's going to come over all the extra stuff that's been stacked on top. So movement 6, the Rhino's useful for moving them around. Weapon skill 2+, so very reliable for close combat. 3+ for ballistic skills, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 6 attacks base, which is excellent. Leadership 9, a 3+ save. The Axe of Dismemberment is +3 strength, so strength 7, AP -3 and 2 damage. Each time attack is made with this weapon, unmodified hit roll of a 6, inflicts 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. So you're probably, on average, you are going to get 1. If there's 6 attacks coming through. Sure, that's particularly good if you're on Wanton Slaughter.
Yeah, third one, yeah.
Because then you'll be 6s will pop extra hits, and those 6s, when they pop those extra hits, they also will turn into mortal wounds as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then if he doesn't ride in the Rhino and goes next to Abaddon,
yeah,
Abaddon can put him into all 3 Wantons. So he then becomes an absolute beat stick when he gets in. And that's why he would also do it maybe in the Terminators too, because they'll get all 3 Wantons.
Right, nice. Trophy Taker. Each time this model makes an attack against an enemy character, you can reroll the wound roll. Okay, very good indeed. And then Warp Sighted Butcher. This model is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it's within 6 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically. So nice stretch on that as well, instead of the 3 horizontally and 5 vertically. Each time this model makes a heroic intervention move, as long as it ends that move either closest enemy model with an engagement range of that character, it can move up to 6 inches. All the other rules for heroic intervention still apply. So nice bit of stretch to really give you an incentive to try and get stuck in against characters. Now on top of all that, he's okay as he is. He's good, really good as he is, but Mike stacked some extra stuff here. Yeah,
so it's 2 CP and spending on him. I think it's 2 CP well spent, because I'm getting the Gorget of Eternal Hate, so I'm getting +1 to my armor saving.
And that's a relic.
And that's a relic.
Yeah, okay.
So that's bringing me from a 3 up to a 2 up save. I also get a 4+ invuln save, and the first time that I'm destroyed before removing the model from play, I roll a d6, and for each enemy unit within 3 inches, on a 2 to 5, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, it suffers 3 mortal wounds. So
there's every incentive to get him stuck in to close combat.
And then the Warlord trait I gave him is Soul Eater. Now, each time this Warlord makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll, so I can fish for them 6s. Each time the Warlord fights, after it's finished making its attacks, if 1 or more enemy models was destroyed, this Warlord regains d3 lost wounds.
Yeah, right.
So it's again having the 4+ infon plus regaining lost wounds.
Yeah, trying to make him as survivable as possible.
And he also has the Mark of Slanesh, I need to point out, because it makes me fight first.
Ah, crucial. Absolutely crucial. That roll is so strong. So shutting enemy units down, making sure you fight first. It can mean life or death for characters, and a chance to bring something down before you're destroyed. So huge buffs and bonuses going on for this guy. Points cost.
65 points flat, but they give him the Mark of Slanesh is 20 points. It's went up in points in the new...
Surprise.
Yeah. So it's a total of, for 85 points and 2 CP.
He's a killer.
He's an absolute beat stick.
Yeah. Very good indeed. And you can just single model, bury him inside the Rhino, and he's a nice little surprise that can emerge.
And he's a character keyword, so he can be...
Shielded.
Yeah.
Very good indeed. So we've got 2 heavy and...
Chaos Bikers.
Yeah, 1 fast. So Chaos Biker's been taken. Mike's taken a unit of 5. I just broke that. So Biker's here. Mike's not glued the back wheel so that he can do wheelies. I've never met anyone that's done that before. But that is a trick. So that's just not gluing the axle, so you can do wheelies with them. Very cool. I would bear that in mind if I ever do Bikers. Okay, I'm going to bring him in here, put him wheeling up, and then he's you can see it here. These 2 then are leaning from side to side, so 1 leaning to the left, 1 leaning to the right, and the 2 supporting the back. So that's that kind of formation for those. Look particularly good. It's older models, but they blend in nicely, and with the updated oval bases now, they look fantastic. So squad of 5. It's pretty obvious what Bikers are. It's a highly manoeuvrable, fast unit that can manoeuvre around the board. And that's for disrupting enemy units, for swinging around flanks, grabbing objectives, counter-punching, relocating. If you need to shift from one objective to the next, you can boost these around the table nice and quick. Bikers are moving 14, so nice and quick across the board. If you do elect to advance, it's a guaranteed 6 inches. You basically got a 20-inch move of those across the table. Plus their durability of toughness 5 and 3 wounds, 3 up save, so durable enough.
And again, if you change their war or their Legion trait to Red Coursers, you
advance and charge.
20 and then charge.
Oh,
Give
super
them the mark
fast.
of Corn. I've given them the mark of Zinch. I'm toying between Zinch and Corn just for. I haven't decided yet.
So similar to this unit, kind of a medium impact type unit. So valuable for sure. They're not going to lead the main spearhead. You've got a dedicated unit for that in the form of the Terminators, but a unit that can stand up to your average kind of unit on the battlefield, and then a tactical use for them with speed around the table. So some armies that we see on the channel, it's sort of 3 of this and 3 of that, but for this army across here, you're seeing a very diverse kind of list. But each unit, Mike's thought about here what their role is on the battlefield, what the strategy is, and how each unit can help towards the overall battle plan. So that's fast attack done. Points for those?
180, I believe, if I've done my math right,
Okay.
for 5 of them. That's with the mark, the Chaos Icon, and the Combi Meltas.
Okay. Oh, you've got a couple of combi melters on there
2,
as well.
yep.
Yeah.
The 2 that's pulling away just there.
Yeah, it's worth doing it for Black Legion because, again, if Mike decides to ambush a target, you can get +1 to his hit rolls, and therefore 2s to hit with a couple of melters is well worth it. Now, next, heavy support. A couple of units left to go. Havocs, which, again, resculpted by Games Workshop. Fantastic models. Like, really, really nice. Mounted on larger bases. Looks so, so cool. So, obviously, firepower support coming from these. Squad of 5. And then the squad leader. Just there, but resculpted by GW. Brilliant job. So, heavy support. So, objective holding, obviously, and to lay down some firepower as the rest of the force moves up. So, the combination for these?
Yes, so I'm running 2 Havoc cannons and 2 Las cannons, and the champion's running a melta gun.
Yes, Havoc auto cannon. Range 48, las cannons range 48, so a heavy 2, strength 7 -2, 2 damage, and the 2 las cannons there as well. So for picking off enemy transports. And
yeah, just chinking away.
Yeah, and then obviously can be used for objective holding.
Yeah.
Their infantry, tuck them in cover for a decent armor save, push them up to 2+. There are 2 wounds. They look like they should be like a 3 wound model, but there are only 2 wounds here. But they're getting the toughness 5 to help them out as well. And if this stuff's all pushing forwards, they may well be a lower priority for the opponent to try and shoot at whilst they deal with all this stuff across here.
And again, I've given them...
Nurgle?
No, I've given them actually Zinch.
Right.
Again, it could change. It'll just depend. It's only because anything that's going to reach from one end of the table to the other will be something that's very, very heavy damaging. So it's going to ignore the first failed saving throw. Yep. So it's all about positioning, I think.
Yeah, so if they're at the back, the firepower that's going to come in against them usually is a heavy type weapon. If Mike's able to ignore the first fouled wound roll that comes through, it's going to make a difference keeping those alive. I think they're... Let's have a look here. Yeah, they're core as well, so they can tap into some of the buffs and bonuses as well. But it's the kind of unit you can just anchor somewhere and they'll survive well enough on the board. And if he's got nothing to do, he can restore...
Especially with the extra 6 inches.
Yeah, restore models. Nice. Okay, and then the last unit here, for more firepower support, but also these are quite potent in close combat and tactically quite flexible as well, is Obliterators. So, that's again the resculpt from Games Workshop. Amazing models. And big brutes of things here. The resculpts, the Games Workshop did made them nice and big across the board. So, yeah, well, you can tell the story about that if you want to.
Yeah, my dog got a hold of it.
The dog ate it.
And this is actually a Reaper chain cannon from 1,000 Suns.
Yes.
Had to be attached to it.
Yeah, so the dog chewed off the gun, but Mike was awfully downhearted about it. But then had a bit of inspiration just to borrow another chaos weapon and glue it on the front. It seems to have got away with it, Mike.
I think so, yeah.
And then the dog's chew marks just adding to the battle seasoned.
Just battle damage. That's
battle
what it
damage,
is.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 Obliterators doesn't sound very much, but they're brutes here. Movement 5. I was not expecting them to move too far. They can deep strike. Weapons gun ballistics got 3+. Sorry, that can become 2+ for Black Legion. Strength 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, 4 attacks. Leadership 9, the 2-up save. And then for these, the tactical flexibility is brilliant. Flesh metal guns. You can go for Warp Hail, Heavy D6 plus 9 shots, Strength 5 minus 1 damage. If you need to clear screens, you can do that. Ruinous Salvo for medium type targets, range 24, Heavy D3 plus 3. So that's squad of 2. It's going to be like 2D3 plus 6 shots. Warp Hail, for example, 2D6 plus 18 shots. It's insane. Strength 7 minus 2, 2 damage on the Ruinous Salvo. And then Focused Malice for the real heavy targets, if you need it. Range 24, Heavy D3 or 2D3 shots. Strength 9 minus 3 and a guaranteed 4 damage coming through for that. Then the other flexible thing with these is close combat. 4 attacks base, and you can use Crushing Fists at ×2 strength. So strength 10 minus 3 and 2 damage. No minus to hit rolls. Starting on 3s. So if you do charge in, you should be hitting on 2s. Brilliant. If you move, there's no minus. And you can fire whilst you're in engagement range. So it's like a heavy firepower support, but different to most firepower support options where these don't mind being close to targets and getting stuck into close combat. They can fight well enough in close combat with their own combat ability, but also they can fire their weapons in close combat as well. There's one thing to check. None of those weapons are blast. So whatever type of weapon they want to fire whilst in close combat, they can. So obliterators...
will obliterate.
They will, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And we reckon, we've seen it done in the previous game, he can restore models, and he can restore one of those back to play. And I think they're 80 points each.
They're 90 points each.
90 points each. Oh, so 90 points a time. So he virtually paid for himself, almost,
he brought back.
By bringing stuff back onto the board. So obliterators need to be wiped out, otherwise there's the potential to bring them back. So again, another unit that's versatile, flexible. It can adapt its move, its firepower, and has the ability to fight well enough in close combat. So obliterators, squad of 2 of those, are in 180 points for 2 of them. Alright, so that's Mike's list here. We've gone through all of the different units. We've built it up from start to finish. Really the best way to see these in operation is in battle reports. We've got a couple of games over on YouTube channel membership. You can check those out. Mike's played a 1,000 point game, a 1,500 points game with his Black Legion, and then we're at the point of breaking into YouTube with these onto the regular channel as well. You'll be able to see them in action, see how they cope against a variety of armies that are already there. But I think this is going to be an army that can adapt itself well enough to any situation. Mike's got units that you can call in to fight against any type of target, and the main focal point is going to be a Baden in amongst those Terminators. There's also a classic Black Legion combination going on with those. So well done to Mike for getting these painted up. A Chaos Legion has arrived here in the form of Black Legion. Looking forward to seeing what kind of combinations we can go for different games. Eldar versus Black Legion, nice. Ultramarines versus Black Legion. Imperial Fists versus Black Legion. There's some Orcs against Black Legion, another game to look out for as well. So well done to Mike, and we thank him for sharing his list with us here in this video. You can leave your own comments and suggestions. Units that you would drop, units you'd add in, downscale in size or up in size, change the combinations around, psychic powers, war traits, and so on. All of that can be discussed in the comments section below. If you're a YouTube channel membership, you can go onto the Discord page. Mike has a section that says Mike's Armies. You can go onto that and discuss with him and leave comments and feedback on that section over on Discord as well. But that's the 2,000 points of Black Legion painted up here by Mike Walker. Keep a lookout for more complete army videos on the channel. And for discount 40k, follow the link in the video description below for the Outpost. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.